Welcome to Leaping Larry's Revolutionary Reading Theatre.
Great, it's reading time, everyone. Hope you all have your listening hats on. I'm going to be reading from Kim Jong-il's On the Juche Philosophy. Finally starting this work. So this is a compilation work. This is published in 2022, this version. I think mine might actually have an additional work. If it does, we will also read that work that's included in mine as well. So this is a compilation of several works that all essentially exist to complement this work right here, which is on the Juche idea. So, of course, today we're going to first read this one right here on some questions and understanding Juche philosophy. And tomorrow we'll be starting on the Juche idea. This one will probably take a few streams to read through. And we also have on some problems of the ideological foundation of socialism. This is another slightly larger work, also very good. And on having a correct viewpoint and understanding of Juche philosophy, following that. And then finally, the Juche philosophy is an original revolutionary philosophy, the final work in this compilation. And they vary from, as you can see, going from 1974 with this one we're going to read today. 82 was on the Juche idea. 1990, May, and then October 1990, and then July 1996. I'm wondering, let me just see right quick if mine have a physical copy right here, but I think this is an earlier edition. Yeah, this is from 2002. Curious if this has an extra one in it or what. No. Looks like it's the exact. Oh no, this one does have actually one extra one from the 70s in it. So this one has Uncorrectly Understanding the Originality of Kim Il Sungism. So we'll also read that one as well. That's the second one that appears in this one. So that one I'll have to go off what we're seeing on screen for, because it's just in my version. This is a newer version. Oh. So that one I'll just throw up something interesting when we read that one. Without further ado, let's start with On Some Questions and Understanding the Juche Philosophy today. This is from a talk to theoretical information workers of the party, April 2nd, 1974. A social scientist recently sent me a letter in which he expressed his view on the Juche philosophy. A perusal of his letter led me to believe that our academic circles still lack a correct understanding of Juche philosophy. The Juche philosophy is a new philosophy created by the great leader, Comrade Kim Il Sung. It is a philosophy which has been elaborated and systematized, focusing on humanity. Again, I'm just going to remind you that this is because they use British translations. They translate like mankind, humanity into mankind or man. The reason this confuses a bunch of Westerners, or especially people in the U.S., I find, is because they're used to they're used to everything being they're used to being very individualist. So they see this word and they know they're not thinking in terms of humanity, as in like taking humanity as a whole species as their scale, and instead they take that word to mean individuals, a person, exactly. So that's why I do that. And then the other reason is because, there is not even any such thing as like a gendered like pronoun in Korean. So it also is somewhat like, I don't know, I feel like it's more accurate if you say humanity, especially in these sections. And in sections where it's talking about individuals, I'll change it to people. Just so that, you know, it makes the most sense as possible. Just a little thing. When you see man, it's talking about humanity. That the Juche philosophy is human centered does not imply that it treats and explains the human question only. It even makes more sense in this sentence. This means that the Juche philosophy raises the fundamental question of philosophy by regarding humanity as the main factor, and elucidates an outlook on the world, a viewpoint and attitude towards the world by focusing on humanity. But the social scientist who sent me the letter considers the Juche philosophy to be something of a human philosophy. Such a view has also been expressed by some other social scientists. Human philosophy is long-standing and has had many schools from the outset, but they all deal purely with the human question. Human philosophy is a philosophy of life which denies the inherent mission of philosophy, as a science that gives an outlook on the world and mainly interprets what humanity and life are. Juche philosophy is different. It raises humanity's position and role in the world as the fundamental question of philosophy, and elucidates that the philosophical principle that humanity is the master of everything and decides everything. Get to more about in a few minutes. The fundamental question of Juche philosophy does not purely concern the human question, but the relations between humanity and the world. The principle of Juche philosophy does not merely represent an outlook on human life, but an outlook on the world. The Juche philosophy expounds a human-centered, Juche-oriented outlook on the world. The Juche philosophy also considers humanity from a new angle. Historically, a great deal has been said about the human question as an object of philosophical study, but no perfect philosophical answers was given. The Marxist classics established the materialistic dialectical view on the human question, and thus made long strides in giving a philosophical elucidation of humanity. They defined the essence of humanity as the sum total of social relations, and attached decisive significance to material production and socio-economic relations in human activities. Although they established the materialistic dialectical view of the human question, they did not give a full account of the essential features of humanity as dominator and transformer of nature and society. The Juche philosophy made it clear for the first time that independence, creativity, and consciousness are the essential features of humanity, the social being. Thus, it gave a perfect conception of humanity and a correct philosophical answer to their position and role as master who dominates, transforms nature and society. The Juche philosophy and human philosophy have fundamentally different viewpoints of humanity. The former regards humanity as an independent, creative, and conscious social being, whereas advocates of the latter deny humanity's social character and consider them to be a being dominated by their instinct, a powerless being isolated from the world. The bourgeois human philosophy, which negates a scientific understanding of the world and revolutionary changes, inspires sorrow, pessimism, and ultra-egoism. We must clearly be conscious of the reactionary nature of the bourgeois human philosophy and correctly understand the originality of the Juche philosophy, which raised and resolved the human question from a new angle. In understanding the Juche philosophy, it is also necessary to grasp correctly the new human-centered outlook on the world. This part's important, very important, for basically everything else we're going to learn about Juche, most especially its fundamental principles of humanity being the master and the transformer of the world. So very important, listen up good for this part. The Juche philosophy established the outlook on the world by regarding humanity as the main factor, and clarified the viewpoint and attitude towards the world by focusing on humanity. This is the major characteristic of the Juche philosophy, as the revolutionary outlook of our time. By casting a new light on the outlook of the world, on the viewpoint and attitude towards the world, the human, with humanity as the main consideration, the Juche philosophy provided the working class and other working masses with a powerful weapon to transform the world and shape their own destiny. But some people say that the world is centered on humanity, or that all changes and development in the material world are caused by humanity. And they think that this is the new outlook of the Juche philosophy, which distinguishes it from preceding philosophy. It has already been established by the materialistic dialectic that the world consists of material, not consciousness or ideas, and that it moves, changes, and develops in accordance with its own laws, not by any supernatural force. It is an undeniable fact that the world is, in essence, a material entity, a material integrity, and that it moves, changes, and develops in accordance with its inherent laws. The Juche philosophy answered a new question: who is the master of the world, and what is the motive force for its transformation? It elucidated a new idea of the world, that nature and society are dominated and transformed by humanity. Thus fulfilled brilliantly the philosophical task of our time, when the masses of masters of their own destiny and history. As you see, the Juche philosophy made it clear that humanity is the master and dominator of the world. It does not assert that the material world itself is centered on humanity. Do we understand the difference there? Let me know in chat if you don't. What the Juche philosophy also expounds is that humanity is the transformer of the world, and that the world is reshaped by humanity. Not that all changes in the world are brought about by humanity. The understanding that the material world is centered on humanity, or that all changes in the world are caused by them, is due to a lack of understanding of the Juche philosophy. Humanity's position and role must not be misinterpreted in explaining the outlook on the world elucidated by Juche philosophy. Yep, I mean this same here, Bup. I think you will. I think you will probably enjoy a lot more as we are reading about it then. And I mean, it's like I point out, it's like, because Juche philosophy is analyzing existing phenomena, particularly social phenomena. It's just like with Marxism Leninism, right? Like, the laws that it discovers are true, whether or not you believe it or not. Just like what we were talking about the other day, like with gravity, right? Like, the theory of gravity, because it has that name theory, the common connotation of that name is to misinterpret theory as just like something you spin up on the top of your head, rather than actually being like a systematic thing of analysis, testing, and reanalysis, right? Which is what we actually mean by theory, and what we mean when we say like the theory of Juche or the theory of Marxism Leninism. We're talking about that type of theory, not in science. What a lot of people mean when they say theory is actually hypothesis, right? Which is your first like guess at something. Like, when a lot of people are saying, like, there's that famous channel, right? Game theory. It's just a theory, a game theory. And that's like the way you put that, you know, that just a theory, that's exactly that kind of misnomer of, you're actually talking about a hypothesis, not a theory, if you're talking in terms of science, right? The fact of evolution. Yeah. Because, and you know, because it is in common parlance the tendency to misinterpret that word theory. which leads to then, oh well, evolution's just a theory, or gravity's just a theory. No, no, it's a scientific theory. I think the only itch in my brain is over Juche is that humanity's place in the world sounds assumed. But I think I disagree. I think humanity's place in the world is observed. Humanity, to our knowledge, unless we find beings from other planets or something, humanity's the only being that reshapes the world in the way that it does, rather than adapting to existing conditions, right? That's all it means, that humanity is like responsible for their own destiny and in shaping and transforming themselves in like a way that other species even aren't. And this is coming from somebody, keep in mind, like I'm a firm believer of animal personhood, right? But I do believe that there is a fundamental difference between humanity's mode of existence and animals' mode of existence, and that fundamental difference also implies a certain responsibility that humanity has to animal people, you know. And that's why I think like this. That's why I think that this first work is so important for pointing out that again, they're like how they point out here that the Juche philosophy made it clear that humanity is the master and dominator of the world. Remember, we're analyzing the world, focusing on humanity, so of humanity's world, but it does not assert that the material world itself is centered on humanity. It makes sense, right? Like humanity and society doesn't develop accidentally, you know. In in certain instances, it can appear that way because like a certain material law has been reached, but it's still been through like humanity's conscious activity, either on the part of the masses to realize their independence or on the part of the reactionaries who consciously try to prevent that history from happening. And I mean, I think like if we could somehow maybe meet other beings that are capable of transforming the world as we did, as we do rather. But currently, as far as we know, we're the only beings who can do that. Yeah, no, no, I know. You just got me on a rant. Don't worry, Blatt. I know. I agree with those final points. I just haven't seen the steps to get there laid out as you said. Yeah, okay. That quote you pointed to is the point I'm trying to make. Okay. Sorry, it just got me thinking. It just kind of got me off on a rant because like I do see a lot of people when you first like explain the principles of Juche and you say humanity is the master and dominator of the world and humanity is the transformer of the world, there's like a tendency of people to misinterpret that just exactly as they're saying, as he points out here, as like as if you're taking the material world to center on humanity. Gotta see what this. Had to make sure Bug was being good. We gotta make sure Bug is being good, right, Bug? Blatt, you have had to have seen that picture, right? Oh my God, I have to imagine Blatt has definitely seen that picture. Oh, the new one. I did post it in the Discord, but she is pretty fucking cute. This one right here, where is it? Creative works. Yeah, you missed out. This. Look at her. It's bug. She's such a little bug. She's just tuned right into the screen. You can see the TV screen in her eyeballs. She fucking loves the television. As soon as you put something on TV, she can hear the TV. Me too. I'm so like invested in how tiny she is, you know? Hey bug, how come you're so tiny? Bug. Bug. I'll get her soon. I'll get her on camera here in a minute. All right. All right, let's continue. It's soon candy time. Once we finish this, we can do candy time. And I'm going to make some mozzarella sticks. Oh yeah, see, she likes to sit on my lap and watch what's on screen. And then eventually she like really gets really like excited and has to come stand up next to the screen. Well, hey Kay, welcome in, comrade. Well, I hope you all have seen this let's see, I hope you all have seen this clip of mine right here. Let me grab it for you all. There's a fantastic bug clip on this channel. Yeah, right here. Here it is. Sound. There's a great little bug clip on this channel right here. Sound. You're too cute. Oh no, why did you fall? Oh bug, look at her. You're too cute. Oh no, why did you fall? Oh bug. Oh bug. Alright, let us continue. It is also important to have a correct understanding of independence in grasping the Juche philosophy. The Juche philosophy made it clear first that humanity is a social being whose life and soul is independence. This represents a historic change in elucidating the essence of humanity and their position and role. But there is a misunderstanding of the question of independence elucidated by the Juche philosophy. This is the case with the author of the letter to some other people. They understand that humanity's independence is developed to perfection of a natural attribute of living matter in general, the desire for existence, in other words. Independence is an attribute of humanity, the social being. It should not be viewed as the development to perfection of a natural biological attribute of living matter. This is, in essence, an evolutionary viewpoint. See, because humanity, our consciousness, all of our knowledge, all of our social wealth, everything like this, our scientific knowledge, our social knowledge, our ideological knowledge, all of these things exist purely in the social realm, right? And if it were not for us intercoursing and living in society with other humans, we would not have any of that, right? And in fact, our behavior would not resemble what most people would consider human, you know? There's a great Kwame Ture talk that I recommend that talks about that as well. About how humans would make a contribution to monkey culture, if they, of course, even survive past infanthood. And not due to simply a lack of survival skills, but because uh, babies like have a potential to do certain things like scratch themselves to death, right? Yeah, that Kwame Ture is a great soundbite. We might have to incorporate that sometime, Blad, I think. Of course, we do not deny evolutionism itself. Science has long established the fact that humanity is a project of ages of evolution. Humanity is a product of evolution, but not their independence. Independence is a social product. Independence is an attribute given to humanity by society, not nature. It is not a natural gift, but has been formed and developed socially and historically. Nature gives humanity natural and biological attributes, whereas society provides them with social attributes. It can be said that humanity's independence is the requirement and reflection of social life, social practice. Of course, the question of independence could be studied in comparison with other living matter from the viewpoint of evolutionism, that is, how humanity alone has acquired independence. But humanity's independence is inconceivable without their unique physical organ, which has taken shape and developed in the long course of evolution. Thanks to their sophisticated organism, humanity has peculiar functions, mental and physical, which no other living matter can acquire. And accordingly, they have independence. But it is unreasonable to think that humanity's independence took shape concurrently with the evolution of his organism. Before the existence of society, independence as humanity's attribute did not and could not exist, even in any embryonic form. Humanity's independence is different in quality from the simple instinct of other living matter to maintain their physical existence. It is an attribute to live and develop as a social being. It is illogical to try and explain the independence of man, the social being, on the basis of a biological instinct to protect their existence. Such an approach would only obviate the fundamental differences between a social being and a natural being, between social attributes and biological attributes. The independence of humanity as the social being comes indisputably into the social and historical category. Therefore, it should be viewed and understood from the social and historical point of view. Denying that humanity's independence is a natural attribute of living matter must not be understood as negating the material being of humanity themselves. Humanity is indisputably a material being, but they are not a simple material being. Unlike all other living matter which is subordinate to, and made to conform with the objective world, humanity dominates and transforms the world in accordance with their will and desire. Not individual will and desire, but collective will and desire, which is, through the power of capital, what the capitalists are able to do through their influence, right? Yeah, absolutely, Bob. It totally altered our course to the point where it almost like halts the evolutionary course in many ways, right? Like littered through humanity's conscious and active activity have basically halted humanity's evolutionary like development because of the way that we now continue. Like it's not the same fight for survival like that humanity had in the past during the course of evolution, we could say, which is, like evolution doesn't happen because, oh, it's cold and white here, so I'll develop white fur, right? It's that this bear or whatever happened to live in a snowy area, and a random mutation happened to make its fur be white, not because its environment is white, just out of a random mutation. And the fact that it's able to survive better means that it has more fucking offspring, right? And then that trait ends up being passed on and perpetuated. But evolution, like itself, like the development of particular traits, is through a random thing, right? A random occurrence. It's not like an adaptation in the way that like so many people when they think about evolution, they think about like a being because it's in this area, it like its body just slowly morphs into like adapting to that environment in like in a very like strange way other than it being again random changes. Some of them, most of them don't help, right? Yeah, and then we started using the knowledge of that for other species for a very long time. Dogs, horses, I mean, any domesticated animal. Absolutely. And that's why, again, I think it's so important for us to understand that we have this, right? This ability and thus this responsibility. The thing is, the people who realize that we have this ability use it to their advantage for their own greedy, individualist demands, while at the same time teaching other people that they don't have this ability, or obfuscating that they have this ability to transform the world, and that the world is just the way it is. You know, like climate change is a good reflection of that. Like how they want to deny the fact that humanity is the one even making the changes to the climate, right? And that it's just simply the climate changing on its own regardless of human activity, right? That's a perfect example of them what they're like what they generally want to do. Of course there's exceptions to everything, but that's generally the knowledge that the rulers want us to have, right? Is that you're what is and humanity can't change it too much for either way. Yeah, exactly, Bob. Exactly. So again, transforms with their will and desire, but not individual will and desire, but collective, right? If independence, an attribute of humanity, were to be considered as a natural attribute, it would amount to obliterating the fundamental distinction between humanity, the social being, and other living matter in general, and to lowering their position and role as dominator and transformer of the world to the level of living matter in general. Independence is the main attribute of humanity, social being. Very important that they keep specifying the social being, humanity, the social being, as human, all the things that make us human, all the things that like make us peculiar as humans exist not in the physical form at all. They all exist in this social realm purely. Very important, right? That everything that makes us human exists purely in that social realm, essentially. Of course, independence, creativity, and consciousness belong to the category of social attributes of humanity, but they represent different aspects. Independence is an attribute of humanity who is desirous of living independently as master of the world and their own destiny. As a collective, that's what humanity develops towards. It's not a statement about individuals, it's a statement about how humanity develops, right? And it's not prescriptive, it's descriptive of how humanity currently and has always developed and will continue
I've
to.
got some literature in my car that will change your whole way of thinking.
Mr. and Sam, thank you, thank you. Didn't you know that only works in a small commune like Kibbutzim? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I think China kind of proves that wrong, but anyway, you know. I mean, DPRK itself also proves that wrong. Ah, we got an ad break. You know what that means, everybody. Thank you all for subscribing. Appreciate that. And Sam, damn, thanks for the resub. I'm not seeing as many Juche Gang emotes. Like, Bop knows what's up. I feel like there's like a Dom sub thing going on where Bop knows to post the Juche gang, or there's gonna be some disappointment in the air. I feel like there's not enough of that with other people. Very disappointed. There. That now I'm seeing, but that's a little bit better. Don't make me turn this stream around right now. Oh, unfortunately, Nightbot needs a subscription. Yeah, Nightbot lost its sub. Play Magic the Gathering. Nice. Nice. My fiance is a big Magic the Gathering fan in TC. She wants people who play and like make their own decks to play with her. But she has a hard time finding actual people around here who like make their own decks and play. So it's a whole thing. One day we'll figure it out. Appreciate you all for subscribing. Speaking of nerding out, we're gonna play Final Fantasy II a little bit today, I think. After the candy, we got some candy coming up. One is about TLC and how TLC like basically, I don't know if you know, TLC is now owned by the Discovery Channel. But I mean, even the Discovery Channel, like, haven't you ever, I'm sure some of you have noticed how the Discovery went from being like at least had like the pretension of being like an educational channel to just being just like the most trash like content imaginable, like just churning out crank shit basically all the time. Yeah, but I mean, I can play it. Like, I know how to play Magic. It's just I don't make my own decks, right? I've never been into it enough that I'm buying decks and like making decks and shit like that. So that's where the problem comes up for me. I can play it no problem. But what ends up happening is it just ends up me like playing one of her decks against against her playing one of her other decks. So I told her to try Arena. I don't think she's ever really like latched onto it. I'm gonna see if she'll try it again. I keep telling her she should try Arena. See if she's tried it again. All right. Well, I'll mention that because that might help. Only play Commander where the decks have more personality, arguably. I've had some for almost a decade. I want to sell off most of my cards, but don't know Wales since I've moved. Yeah. Um, my fiance, she plays mostly the classic, but she has gotten a Commander deck now that she's trying out. So she's willing to try anything. God damn it, you know. All right, let's continue. Everybody's back from the ad break now. So, this is the traits of humanity. Independence is an attribute of humanity who is desirous of living independently as master of the world and their own destiny. Creativity is an attribute of humanity who transforms the world and shapes their own destiny purposefully. And consciousness is an attribute of humanity who determines all their activities designed to understand and reshape the world and themselves. Independence, creativity, and consciousness, though distinguishable from one another, are closely integrated. Creativity cannot find full expression separately from independence, and the latter cannot be realized properly without the former. Consciousness is the prerequisite of independence, and creativity and guarantees their materialization. A correct understanding of independence, creativity, and consciousness in their intertwined relationship, therefore, is important in grasping humanity's social attributes. The Juche philosophy newly elucidated the essential features of humanity and their position and role as dominator and transformer of the world, and thus raised their dignity and value to the highest possible level. This is the great achievement of the Juche philosophy that no other philosophical thoughts have accomplished. Today, the Juche philosophy is winning more active support and strong sympathy amongst the people worldwide with every passing day. We must see to it that scientists and theoreticians study profoundly the Juche philosophy and correctly explain and disseminate it so as to add glory to the great Juche idea. I intend to go further into details of independence and other problems in understanding the Juche idea at some other time in the future, so it would be advisable not to publish my talk for the present, but to make sure that profound studies and researches are made among scientists and theoreticians so that they can have a correct understanding of the Juche idea. There you go. Commander's nice because it's more about a social experience than trying to win a game. Oh, nice. Of course, there's some sweaties. There's always going to be sweaters, Blatt, right? No